Happy Mother's Day. Hi everyone. So I just turned 25, and honestly, with being a quarter of a century, you kind of think about like your life and your decisions and where do you go from here. And of course, something big that a lot of people are doing is having children, and you kind of think about that decision for yourself and what that would look like. Now, of course, the idea of having children for a lot of people, the answer is easy, pretty much just yes or no. To me, the answer is but let's think about this decision very deeply. Like, think about it. Drop a comment below. Do you want to have children? Do you not? And why are your reasons for having them or not having them? But anyway, more than anything, let's kind of discuss why this is such a big deal for a lot of people and why living in a society has led us to believe that we have to, or the reasons that we shouldn't, and why there's so much stigma on having or even not having children. So of course there's this pressure, and honestly, being a woman, I know that there's more pressure on becoming a mother on women than there is on men. For a lot of us, like, our parents were parents at our ages, but I think before there was just a lot of pressure to have children, especially because of like the values there were. If you did the devil's tango with a stranger and the stranger or you got pregnant, you would have to pretty much marry this person, right? I feel like people think this was ages ago, but I feel like 2 generations ago, which is not that far away, they still had this thought. And it's so crazy to me how people think that the devil's tango was the problem when really reproductive rights is a problem, because nowadays what people would do is probably just go to the old planet parenthood. They just go to the clinic and undo this, if you know what I mean. And not just that, but I think people did think that you had to have a family around this age, or like if you were 30, especially a woman, then you probably are just a hamon. For those of you that don't know, hamona is slang for like an elderly woman who never had kids or got married, but also it means ham. So by now you see that there was always this stigma. I do say was, but there still kind of is the stigma of like you have to aspire to this, when of course we all know that that's not the truth anymore. I don't aspire to get married. I feel pretty complete as a person as is, and I do see myself in this same track 5 years from now. Might that change? Yeah, of course it might change. I feel like people feel sad when they don't achieve it, or they feel this pressure to achieve it, which actually makes you make bad decisions sometimes. Like, you might feel so desperate to have a partner that you end up with a partner that is not right for you, and you end up maybe even having kids at a wrong time. People younger than me are having kids, and if they feel like that was the right decision, that's great. I don't judge them at all for that. But that brings us to people thinking that children are an asset. I do feel like people of all generations feel like having a child is kind of like buying a car or buying a house, especially men, because let's be real here. When men say, I want to have children, I feel like they don't really think about the technicals of it. The technicals being, you know, if you're a cis man, you are not the one gestating. They also don't think about the sleepless nights, feeding, and even more importantly, the emotional aspects of it. They kind of just, like this one tweet that I saw, kind of want to leave a legacy, and they want to feel like they are the most important person in their family, like the leader who has all these subjects. That's pretty dramatic, and I don't mean to exaggerate it in that way, but that is kind of what happens. And now we're seeing a shift of women being like, I don't want to have children, because they have probably seen their mother go through so much. But just in general, I do think, you know, across all gender identities, I feel like people do think like, I want to have a kid because it's gonna be so fun. It's not. It is not going to be fun. It is not this cute thing that you do just because. Raising a child and recognizing that this person is going to become a person with their own thoughts and feelings is a huge responsibility. When people are immature and they think it's something cute and fun to do, they end up fucking up, because there is so much more to that child. And as you will see in the interview that I do with one of my high school best friends, who is literally a day older than me and is in a very different moment of her life, we kind of do discuss that, you know, personhood of that baby that you have. There is a debate about like, if you are economically able to have a child, should you have a child? And I'm not gonna get into that because to be honest, that's not even my place. But I feel like people disregard the emotional aspect of it. I think that's way more important, because if you have the means to raise a child but are not going to be there for that child emotionally, then what is the point? Why would you give this person trauma? No. I personally don't plan on having any kids anytime soon or in the future, sincerely. As a kid, I probably did see it, but I don't anymore. Now, my reason for not having kids is really simple. I don't want the responsibility, but more so, I don't see myself as a mother. I don't think I ever will. Again, that might change and I might just eat my words, but at the same time, that is what I want right now in 2021. I'm expecting that for a few years from now. So for me, even if I was economically able to, even if I was emotionally able to have a child, I don't think I would do it and I think a lot of people really hate this answer, but I just don't want to. I do have to say though that if I ever do plan to, I would want to give this child everything. For the emotional aspect and even the economic standpoint, I would want to give that child everything. I probably will never be able to, and that's not a reason not to have a child, but I would really wreck myself trying to. I wonder why people want to. I do wonder so much, like, why would people want this huge responsibility, this huge thing that is going to take so much of your time, freedom, etc. I know I sound like a douche. Why would you want to not be free, man? But then I forget that not everyone wants to be alone, and a lot of people actually do want relationships and babies, and I have to get out of myself for a little bit. No, but that is a big question for me, sincerely, and I have decided to ask people who gestate, have gestated, and will gestate, and will give birth, that are close to me, to answer some questions about motherhood. I'm saying motherhood, but really these are just questions about parenthood in general. Here is a little interview that I did to my friend Tirzah about her experience with motherhood. I hope you enjoy. Hi, Caroline. I can't get over how cute he is.
Thank you.
Que bello.
Hello.
So the first question is, like, what made you want to become a parent?
I was one of those people who never wanted to be a parent, or at least I didn't see myself being a parent. Yeah, that's right. Being a parent. Like it definitely took a long time to get used to the idea. I think that most of my pregnancy was spent in a cloud of doubt of like, can I actually do this? Like, am I prepared to do this? Will I be able to be there emotionally and like physically, like want to be there for my child? I know that from like an outsider's point of view, that sounds bad, or at least I feel bad when I say that, but it was my reality, you know. Like, I didn't see myself being a mom at this point in my life. Like, I had other plans. I think that one of the things that was also like hard to deal with was when I announced my pregnancy, a lot of people are like, oh, like, you know, you must be so happy, like this must be like the best time of your life. Obviously, like I felt like I had to like keep a face of like, yes, like I'm happy to have this child. Like obviously, like I see him as like a blessing, but it was probably at the most unexpected time of my life. And again, like it wasn't in my plans to have a child. So just kind of feeling like that weight of the expectation of everyone else thinking that I was super static about being a mom when I was scared. Like it was extremely like a hard, I don't even know how to say it. It was just like a hard time in my life, I guess, when I was pregnant. It's like your whole body changes. Like suddenly you're sharing your emotional and your physical space with like this new human. Yeah. And then you also have like the weight of responsibility of like, oh my gosh, like I have to take care of another person that's not me. I think over the course of time, I was able to grapple that reality, and I've honestly like really enjoyed motherhood so far. So
that's actually amazing. I mean, like there is something really nice about like knowing that you're never gonna be alone ever again.
That was another thing I wasn't used to or like prepared for, was like having a bond with another human that is unlike any other bond that I've had before. It's like it's a connection. It's like unlike my relationship with my mom or my brother, or like it's completely different, so unique, and just it fills me with love and joy. And
funnily enough, like I think I don't know if I asked it already, but I think that literally answered like my second question, which was like, did you feel emotionally ready? Sincerely, I feel like a lot of people, especially me that I don't want to have kids, would ask, and especially now like our generation is very like, I don't want to have kids because it's a lot of responsibility or whatever. People would usually ask like, why go through it?
Having a child is very personal and it's a very serious decision. If I had the choice, like right now, like I would have another child. Probably not right now, but in the future, I would like to have another child. And it's because he's brought joy to my life. Like I just never thought I could experience this level of happiness that I've experienced with my own son. Just watching another human discover life is such a beautiful journey. And I try to not, like, I don't want to make it more than what it is, but it truly is like a really almost like magical experience. Just watching, you know, a kid laugh for the first time. Like that was that was amazing. Like watching him laugh for the first time, like a real belly laugh, that was like, oh my God, like this is incredible.
Was it everything you expected to be? Like, that's what I think you have a lot to say on, because of course, like I'm pretty sure that there's things that you might have expected, but things that maybe you didn't.
I was honestly just like you. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's pretty much just like you in the state of mind of like, I don't want to have kids. Kids are a burden. And so I was just looking at parenthood as that. It was just kind of like doom and destruction. And it's going to be hard and it's going to suck. I'm going to hate it. I know it sounds horrible, but that was where I was emotionally, like during my pregnancy. And then near the end, and also like becoming a mom, that completely shifted. It ended up being like, wow, this is really incredible. Like, this is really beautiful. Like, it's not that it's not hard, but it's so beautiful that it makes me kind of look past that and see that it's just a wonderful journey, being able to raise another little human being and give it love and give it, nurture it. It's like a very rewarding experience, just emotionally and just physically, because you get to see everything that you put into this child, like it's returned to you as well, like on a very real, spiritual, kind of like emotional sense.
What are your expectations for like Isaac when he grows up and he eventually is a teenager?
So I've actually thought about this a lot. What kind of person is Isaac going to be in the future?
Yeah.
Because when you have a baby, like right now, these stages, this is like a blank book, like you don't know what the future is. Like you barely even like see a lot of their personality.
For sure.
So what I've like kind of told myself is like, I don't want to have like a lot of expectations from him, except like, being a good person, being a happy person. Like at bottom line, like I just want him to be a good person and I want him to be happy in life, no matter what he chooses to do, and he doesn't need trouble or hurt people.
Yeah.
So, so like whether he ends up being an artist or he ends up being a doctor or a garbage man, like I don't care. Like I just want him to be a good human that's happy and brings happiness to other people. So.
Like he already has. For example, if I were to say to people with different values that like I don't want to be a mom, they would probably tell me like, how will you ever feel complete? Do you feel complete, or do you feel like motherhood completes you? Or like you said, like you had said something about like how it adds on to your purpose in life. So
for me, motherhood wasn't what made me complete as a person. It just added more, I guess, value, more substance to my life. So
yeah,
it's a beautiful journey, and I don't think that you need to be a mom to be a complete person or a complete woman or a complete man. I do have to say that being a mom has pushed me emotionally to places where I didn't know I was capable of going.
Wow.
So it's kind of been like a huge like journey for me, like mentally and emotionally and like spiritually even, just kind of watching a human from the very beginning of life, watching him coming into the world and then watching him kind of like adapt and grow is like, it's a trip. Like it's probably the craziest, most wild journey I've ever been on.
Like, this isn't a question, this wasn't really part of it, but like, do you have anything to say like to people considering or like questioning if they want to have children ever or not? Like what would your advice be technically?
I would say remember yourself as a child and remember all of the things that you needed. Be cognizant of the trauma that you've gone through so that you can help build a strong and a human being that feels loved and healed by your love.
My mom has always said that like she has always wanted to be a mother, that being a mother was her biggest blessing. I know a lot of moms that are like, motherhood is second to this, which is completely fine. I feel like people have to understand that actually, because motherhood doesn't have to be like the sole identity of someone, To me, it is pretty admirable because my mother says that she always wanted to be a mother. She has gone through so much, and I admire and love her so much, and I really wanted to make this video in honor of her and to all the mothers out there. Will I ever want to be a mom? I don't think so. Sincerely, the way the world is looking out, and that's not even a reason not to have children, but I never envision it. It's so funny how when I was a kid, I just thought it was gonna happen naturally, Like I just thought that I would be married. If I ever did get married and wanted kids, it would just happen naturally, and it just wouldn't be planned. I would just be ready in my marriage to have children. I don't see that anymore. I definitely see myself planning it out previously because the way life is set up. I hope y'all enjoy. Thank you so much for watching, of course. I have a lot of videos planned, like I said. I've been going through it, so like planning these out and shooting these and editing these has been a hassle. But I really do want to stay consistent in making videos, especially on topics that are interesting like this one. So I hope you stick around and you watch them. I will see you in the next one. Happy Mother's Day.